And my name is Mduduzi. From Region. I'm a second year student in journalism, and then I need your help to actually interview you, and then it's based on your profession as a teacher. Just to set the record straight, this interview is not for publication. It's a project for my practical journalism class. And in my resource saying, I guarantee your anonymity. And Ms. Mure, just briefly, tell me about yourself. I mean, when and where were you born, and how did you grow up, and how would you describe yourself now?
Okay, my name is Mduduzi. I was born in Zimbabwe in 1981. Right, I just get a normal life like every child. And because of the economic situation in Zimbabwe, I had to come to South Africa, and that is where I am right now, teaching at Metro.
Okay. Now, Ms. Mure, what really inspired you to become a teacher? Rather, what motivates you to wake up in the morning and come here to teach?
Right, because I want to cause a change and to be part of the change which is already taking place, making sure that our generation is to come after us is a generation which has knowledge, values, and a better attitude, and people are able to change the world for the better.
Now, and how would you handle your life? Like, as a parent and as a teacher, how do you handle the two?
By realizing that each and every child is my own child. Right? I might not be having a boy child or a girl child, but when I see them, I see my own kids, and I always do the best in trying to give them a better future.
Right. And as a teacher, what is your influence to learn?
By all means, I always try to portray a good image to them, and always try to encourage them and motivate them, realizing that there are some kids who are coming from a family which is disadvantaged. So I always try by all means to encourage them, to give them hope as well.
Now, what is your philosophy in the current curriculum?
Right, realizing that the curriculum has been changing. First of all, with the NCS, and now we are having the CAPS. Right, there is a big difference between those two, but I realize that the government is trying by all means to put a better education on the table. Of course, there might be problems here and there, but I realize that at the end of the day, they are trying to benefit the community at large.
That was one follow-up question on that. The question was that how would you distinguish the OPE, the NCS, and the CAP? And so say, do you find it benefiting both the learners and the teachers?
Right, mainly if you were to look at the 4 years in the NCA, it was more of outcome-based.
Yeah.
Right. But now you find that we are engaging the learners. There is more of contact time between the educator and the learners. Right. You find that the learners are given more work and more homework to do, and they are always engaged every time. And you find that the pass rate tends to improve because of that. So kids give more learners work to do and to get in contact with each and every subject.
So is it fair to conclude that CAPS is effective in our education system?
Yes, I can safely say so. With all the resources, then CAPS can actually bring about a better change in our society.
Now, in that context, what is your teaching strategies do you apply?
Right, there are many strategies that I apply. There's discovery learning, where I allow learners to go and find out information. For example, they can go and research on a particular topic. I'm a geography teacher. I can ask them to go and research on water. They go to the internet and try to find out information concerning water in the world. And I also use the textbook as well as my source of information. And also I also allow them to interact between themselves. That is peer learning.
How would you describe the way in which learners should be disciplined?
Right. Considering what our government has already said about corporal punishment, we are not allowed to punish kids corporally, but there are other ways of punishing kids, such as detention. You can detain them after school. You can make them write what they've done wrong on a piece of paper, but we cannot really apply corporal punishment.
Corporal punishment should not be a punishment measure for learners.
It shouldn't be really part of the punishment measures, but we do have other measures which we can put in place in trying to put some discipline in these learners.
Let's make two of them.
For example, let's say we've got a late comer, we can just allow that late comer to go around picking litter around the school, or we can allow that person to write down what they've done wrong. For example, if it is noise making, the learner will just take a piece of paper and write down, I'm sorry ma'am for noise making, up to maybe 30 lines. They won't do it again because it's not really nice to be writing the same sentence again and again.
That is correct. And now, how would you describe your relationship with your colleagues? Do you cooperate with other teachers?
Yes, we do try to cooperate, but because of the time factor, sometimes we are always busy. We have to do the files, we have to prepare for our lessons, we have to do the lesson plans. So you'll find that many a times we are always busy. So there is little much of contact time between our colleagues. Maybe during break time, or maybe really after school, but many a times we are always busy.
And personally, what is your worst experience in the teaching profession?
My worst experience, I can't really say I've got really a worst experience, but I've got that positive mind that no matter how bad something happens, I always turn it into good. So yes, there are many worst experiences that I've seen or that I've witnessed. But because I'm someone who always turns a bad thing into a good thing, it then comes to my advantage. Yeah.
Now, which learner's behavior do you find most irritating?
Noise making. Noise making, that is quite irritating. As well, not doing their work. When a learner doesn't do their work, they're still chatting with their friends. That is quite irritating. Yeah, as well as bullying others. I don't appreciate such behavior from learners.
You must be the experience, bullying and noise making, and how has that, in your perspective, have influenced other learners who want to learn, who are eager to learn? You know, they come to school, they know that they are being bullied. You know, they know this destruction. How has that been influential to other learners?
Right, you'll find that the bullying which is taking place mainly in the school premises, which is affecting other learners cannot concentrate, and you find that some of those learners are influenced negatively, even if a learner is serious at school, but because of the peer pressure which is occurring amongst their friends, you find that they are disturbed in their schoolwork. Maybe there's late submission of work, they don't do their homework anymore, and you find that there is a reduction in their marks.
Now, in terms of the parents of the learner, now how do you make action plans? If a learner is misbehaving and so on, and how do you try it?
Right, if we've got a misbehaving learner, what we do, we make sure we've got a written record. We always record, we write it down, we phone the parent, and we engage the teacher, we also engage the principal and the parent, and we discuss, and we try to find the best possible solution available.
Okay. Now, how do you recognize a learner that is consistently achieving above average? And what action plans do you undertake for a learner who consistently achieve below average?
Right, for a learner who's doing well at school, you realize with the marks, many times they'll be doing well across the board in every subject. English, they're doing well, English, geography, they're doing well. And for that learner, we always try by all means to award them. We do have some certificates that we give out to learners who are doing very well. And also for learners who are well behaved at school, we also have some certificates for that so that they continue in their good days. And then for a learner who's not doing well at school, we always try by all means to have remedial work with them. we do set aside time for them, and then we try to go over the stuff which they need to learn.
Now, generally, given the crisis faced by the education system in South Africa, for instance, the Limpopo textbook crisis, what change do you actually wish to see in the next years to come?
Right. I believe this is not only a government problem. I also believe that the private sector has to take part in this textbook initiative. The private sector has to try by all means to help this project by funding the project. Because you realize the majority of the schools still don't have the textbook. It's not only Limpopo, but you find that other parts of the country don't have that textbook. So I would love a situation whereby each and every learner has a textbook for each and every subject. So it means government cannot do it alone, but also the community is likely to take part with the private sector, and the parents themselves have to take part in this initiative, especially for those parents who are able to buy. We do realize that there are some parents who can't afford, but for those parents who can afford, they can pitch in and try to help as much as possible.
Now, what is your take on the recent proposal by the Minister of Health, Aaron Mduduzi, that distribute condoms in schools?
Right, if we were to look at the rate of AIDS in sub-Saharan region, you realize that it is increasing. It is still increasing, but not at a faster rate, but it is still increasing. And you realize that if you are to put condoms in schools, it might encourage the learners to engage in sex, knowing that they are protected. I think the first thing which they have to be told is to abstain. To abstain is the best method to say you can only have sex after marriage. If it is not working, putting condoms in schools, it will encourage those who have never experienced sex to try it out. Remember, the learners that who are teaching, they are teenagers. And if you have to look at the characteristics of teenagers, people who like to experiment, they are adrenaline, they are adventurous, they like to discover things on their own. So if you have to put condoms in schools, they will try to discover what is behind the condom.
Now, lastly, do you think that the government of South Africa has put politics ahead of education?
That is a tricky one. Really, I'm not really a politician, but I always try to observe what is happening around me. Right, I do think so. I do think the government of South Africa has put politics ahead of education. Because anyway, politics is going to affect education. In a country it's not stable, you find that education is going to be affected, or people are going to try to use education as a propaganda to try to gain some votes from the community.
No, Ms. Mule, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
I appreciate your conversation.
You're welcome.